How many people remember Tissa? Tissa is a brand created by Taz Arnald and made a name for themselves during the days of the snapback hat craze. During the mid-2000s, Tissa was among the most sought-after accessories in the game. Snapbacks were booming and Tissa commanded top dollar for their products. But like many other brands, they fell off over the years, and now you'd be hard-pressed to find a colorful logo on the back of anyone's heads. I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com, and this is the rise and fall of Tissa Vision. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It's a small act for you, but a huge favor for us. So with that being said, let's jump right in. Tissa, which is an acronym for, and I literally just found this out while doing research for the brand, but it's an acronym for, get this, Taz is so Arnold. That's it. That's what Tissa stands for. But the name would embody the brand itself in more ways than one, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But for now, let's go back to the good old days of 2010. For some reason, vintage snapback hats came back into favor and people went crazy over them. I mean, I would know, as Take Flight 214 actually started back then as a snapback shop, and we sold tons of them. It was hard to get your hands on some of the retro hats from back in the 80s and 90s, so anyone who could procure them could turn around and charge a very generous markup in resale. This is where Taz had an idea. The plan was to capitalize on the resurgent popularity of the hat trend and mix it with his industry connections to create one of the most outlandish and absurdly ridiculous concepts in streetwear history. Tissa's thing was to take the vintage snapback hat that had been made by other companies like Starter, American Needle, and Elektra, and embroider their logo on the back in rainbow color stitch, then turn around and resell them for hundreds of dollars in some cases. That's it. I shit you not. That's all they did. No tags, no design upgrades. I mean, maybe they did have an inside tag, but just the logo on the back, and suddenly the hat went from being worth $35 to now being worth $150. I mean, you gotta admit, it's a genius idea to flip a lot of money in a short amount of time. Remember, if you had a plug, you can get many of these hats for $5 or $10 each. That's about what we were getting them for. So to flip a $5 hat for $120 or more offered an insane profit margin. Not to mention, they had guys like Tiger and Big Sean and Chris Brown who were just coming into popularity at that time, repping hard for the brand. This was Tissa's main draw, hype. Hype surrounding snapbacks and hype surrounding the artists that wore them. They also, albeit to a lesser degree, did the same with designer sweaters, vintage jackets, and shoes. But between the ludicrous price points and a lack of creative differentiation, you could probably guess that making fakes was pretty easy. I personally knew people that took non-Tissa snapbacks and had the logo embroidered on them, instantly increasing the resale value. There was even complete fakes, meaning Chinese hats that were neither authentic from the vintage snapback point nor from the Tissa point, that could be found all over the market. By the time Tissa finally tried to branch out into their own branded clothing, or original designs that is to say, it was too little too late. Granted, they had always done logo tees, but it was just that. Solid colored t-shirts and hoodies with just the same Tissa logo on the front. And towards the end of their run, they tried to issue a few uninspired original tee designs, but it was futile. The jig was up. During their height, they never really worried about actually trying to build a clothing brand. They never branched out with the original designs or cut and sew. They simply played on the extreme hype that they had, and seemed to lack any real insight or desire, for that matter, to do much more with Tissa. This could be looked at two ways. Either it was a smart idea, a way to cash in right quick and make tons of money on painfully simply business model, or a microcosm for what is sometimes the problem with the streetwear industry, or more specifically hype culture itself. This being that sometimes things slip through the cracks simply because they're driven by hype, and less because of the creative genius or stylistic appeal. Antisocial Club, anybody? I mentioned earlier how the name embodied the brand, and what I mean by that is that the name sounds extremely uninspired and random. Like, what the hell is this even? And the brand was the same way. There was little to no creativity. And in hindsight, there was no reason for the brand to exist, or for the hype to be what it was, or any reason for anyone to want to wear any of it now. I saw a few items being sold on eBay for $35. But hey, who knows if those are even real, considering all the fakes that were floating around back in the day. Someone mentioned in the comment section for the Crooks and Castles video that some brands deserve to die. And in my opinion, that couldn't be more true than for Tissa Vision. Normally I ask if you still wear the brands that we just covered, but in this case, I'm pretty sure the answer is no. So instead, I'll just ask if you remember Tissa and what you think caused the fall. Hit us up in the comment section and let us know, as we do read all of the comments and we try to get back to all of you guys. And if you made it through this far in the video, then I'm pretty sure it means that you liked it. So if that's the case, then don't forget to hit the like button, as it's a huge favor for us. Also, if you want to be updated every time we drop a new weekly episode of a rise and fall of a streetwear brand, then hit the subscription button and the notification bell to be dinged for each new episode. But with that being said, I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com signing out. Until next time, peace.